morning, student. So today this is session 3 of Introduction to the Programming in Python, a revision tour of class 11th. Today we are going to cover lots of things, like we will cover data types, we will cover operators, and we will cover the delimiters, the punctuators, punctuation signs which are used in the Python program. So data types almost we have covered already. Like if you see in Python, data types can be divided into various categories, like there are numbers, there are sequences, set is there, then a special data type like none is there, and there are mappings also. Now numbers can be integer number, float number, or complex number, whereas integer can be further, decimal integer, octal integer, hexadecimal integer, or even boolean. Boolean is also an integer because it have a value 0 or 1. 0 stands for true. True here is a constant, and 0 stands for the false. We have seen this particular thing in the last session. Then we are having float data type, which is having fractional numbers. If any number involve dot, say suppose I am writing somewhere 23, so this 23 is an integer. But if I am writing 23.0 or simply I write 23 dot, then it will be termed as float number. Then we are having complex number, which is having real part and imaginary part, and you can access them. Then we are having sequences which are having ordered data, like we are having strings, which is ordered set of, you can say, characters. We are having list, that is again ordered set of different data values of different type, mixed type, enclosed in square brackets. Strings are enclosed in single quotes or in double quotes or in triple single quotes, triple double quotes, as we have discussed earlier, and list is enclosed in square brackets. So this is an ordered list, index from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, and this is basically having any type of data. It is mutable, it can be further modified. Then we are having tuples, data items enclosed in parenthesis, and this is immutable. Once it is created, it cannot be modified. Then we are having sets. Set are unordered collection of elements with a special property, and the special properties, we cannot have any duplicate value into it. No repetitive value can be available in a set. Set have all the values which are unique. Then we are having a special data type none. Again, none is a constant, it is a reserved word, and it is used to represent nothing, null. And then we are having mappings. Mappings are also unordered collection of data where data is mapped against a key. We are having the keys and we are having the values. So keys can be any type of data, it can be a text, it can be a number even, and similarly value can be any type of data, it can be text or number or anything. So dictionary is one such mapping. So these are the different type of data. Again, you need not to declare them, like unlike C++ programming, where when you are working with a variable, first you have to declare the data type, then only you have to use the variable. Because in Python we are working with the dynamic typed language. We are working with dynamic data type, that is at the time of execution of the program, interpreter decides what data type is being assigned to a particular variable. So you can create any variable, you can provide any literal value to it, as we have discussed earlier, and that data type will be assigned to the concerned variable. Then we are having operators. Operators plays a great role in calculations. Operators are symbols, character symbols, which are used to represent certain operation on certain set of data. Now we can have different type of operators, like we are having unary operators, which involves only one operand, like minus a plus a. Then we are having binary operators, which involve two operands, like plus a plus b. You require two things. A minus b, here is also you require two things. Then we are having ternary operators also. Ternary operators where three operands are required. So all these operators we are going to discuss here. They are binary, operators, like we are having the arithmetic operators, we are having relational operators, assignment operators, logical operators, membership operators, and identity operators. So we will discuss each one by one. These are very easy. They are not very tough or very hard type of things. They are very easy, simple mathematical operations, and we can work with them very easily. So arithmetic operators are plus sign, that is used for addition. Then we are having minus for subtraction, asterisk sign, that is for the multiplication or product, then slash, forward slash, that is for the division. It is float division, or you can say real division. It means division which involve fractional part also, decimal sign also. Then we are having two forward slash, two consecutive forward slash. This is called floor division, that is the lowest integer of the division, or it is also called integer division. Then we are having percentage sign. This is used for modulus. It is used to calculate the remainder of a division. And then we are having two consecutive asterisk signs, that is the exponent or power. If you want to calculate power of something, x to the power y, then we will be using these things. So let's see how these operators work. Say we are having two variables, a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. Now if we say c is equal to a plus b, it has been performed. It is a binary operation, and if you see the value of c, this is 30, that is 10 plus 20. Similarly, if I say c is equal to a minus b, so this is again minus 10. 10 minus 20 is minus 10. Then c is equal to a multiplied by b, that gives you 200. If you check the value of c, that is 200. And similarly, if we perform c is equal to a divided by b, now a and b both are integer, but the result will not be integer because this is a division. This is fractional division. Okay, so the answer will be 0.5. But at the same time, if we are performing the floor division, c is equal to a divided by floor division b. So in that particular case, the answer will be 0 because it will not have any fractional value. Correct? So similarly, if you want to calculate the modulus, so suppose we are calculating, say, a percentage 3, that means if we divide a by 3, what will be the remainder? So if you divide a by 3, the remainder will be 1. This is your 1. Similarly, if you say c is equal to b percentage 3, if you divide b by 3, the remainder will be, in this particular case, 2. So this is your remainder operator. And suppose you want to calculate power, like say I want to calculate 10 to the power 2, so c is equal to a exponent 2, that is 10 to the power 2. So this is your 100. So this is how you can work with the arithmetic operators, which are very easy. The only thing you have to remember about these three operators: the division operator, it is always a fractional division, real division, and floor division, it is always integer division, it gives you whole number only, and modulus, it gives you remainder. Okay, this modulus operator is very important operator in programming because it is used to check the divisibility. If you want to test divisibility, then percentage sign is a very important operator. Modulus operator is very important. Like say suppose if I want to check whether a number a, and it can be any number, like right now it is 10, so a number a is divisible by 3. So if I say a percentage 3, now if the result is 0, that means the number is divisible, and if the result is not 0, that means the number is not divisible. Here you can see the result is not 0, that means 10 is not divisible by 3. So percentage is also a very good operator to test divisibility. In examinations, this particular portion is usually used in programming, so that's why I had discussed specially. Then we are having relational operators. Relational operators are comparison operators. They are used to compare things, and there are various things you can compare, like equal to, not equal to, less than equal to, greater than equal to. You are requested to note that equal to is always used with double equal sign. If you are using a single equal sign, single mathematical equal sign, then it will be termed as assignment operator. If you want to compare something, then it will be double equal sign. In board examination, there is a question, find the error in the given program, and this is a frequent or common error, right? If you are calculating equal to, say a equal to b, and you are writing like this, say a equal b. So when you are saying a equal b, this is not comparison. It is not comparison. It simply say the value of a is changed to the value of b, and the value of b is assigned to a, you can say. Okay, just take an example. Say right now I am doing a equal b. I am comparing, is a equal b? A is 10, b is 20. Both are not equal, so your answer will be false. But if I say a equal to 10, b equal to 20, and then I say a equal to b, so what it means? The value of a is changed with the value of b. So now you can say a becomes 20, right? Similarly, you can use less than operator. If is a is less than b, true. Is a less than equal to b, true. Is a greater than b, false. Is a greater than equal to b, false. Is a not equal to b, true. Okay, so all these operators are rational operators, and especially in less than equal to or greater than equal to, always remember the less than or greater than will come first and equal to sign will come after. Like if I'm saying a less than equal to b, this is true. But if I somewhere say a equal to less than b, it will generate error, because there is no such operator which is having equal less than. In mathematics it can work, but in programming you cannot write a equal to less than b. You have to write a less than equal to b. So this is your relational operators, all the relational operators. Then we are having assignment operators. Assignment operators are those operators which are used to calculate an expression and assign to the variable which is available on left hand side. With the assignment operator, one very important thing you have to remember always, that on left hand side of the assignment operator, on left hand side of the equal to sign, you will be having a variable that is called L value, and on the right hand side of the assignment operator you will be having an expression. It can be a constant, it can be another variable, or it can be any formula, any expression involving constant, variables and different operators. So there are different assignment operator. One is normal assignment operator, and another are extended assignment operator. You can say they are assignment operator along with certain arithmetic operators like plus equal to, minus equal to, multiplication equal to, division equal to, floor division equal to, modulus equal to, exponent equal to, and so on. So you can see clearly, say what I have told you, like say on left hand side, if I write a plus b is equal to c, it will generate error. Why? Because on the left hand side of equal sign you can have only one variable, L value. You cannot have an expression. Or if I say 10 equal to c, this is again going to generate the error. But if I say c is equal to a plus b, there is no error. If I say c is equal to 10, there is no error. If I say c is equal to b, there is no error. Okay, it means on the right hand side you can have a variable, you can have a constant, you can have an expression, but on the left hand side you can have a variable only. Similarly, suppose a equal to 10, b is equal to 20, and if I am saying c is equal to, a plus equal to b. So a plus equal to b means b is added to a and the result is stored into a. Accumulation. Okay, a is performing the operation as well as storing the result into it. This is called accumulation. So here you can see the plus equal to operator. Okay, here you can see the plus equal to operator. Okay, so how you are writing x plus equal to y, and it will convert into x is equal to x plus y, that is this plus and the expression is added, into x, and the result is stored into x. That is accumulation. So similarly with the minus, it will be subtracted. With multiplication, it will be multiplied. With division, it will be divided. With floor division, it will be floor divide. With percentage, it will be modulus operation, remainder, and with double star or double asterisk exponent, it is power. So like say suppose I want to calculate a to the power 2. A is equal to a to the power 2. Say a is equal to 10, and I want to calculate a is equal to a to the power 2. So I can write a equal to 2. This is a equal to a to the power 2. So if you say a, now this is 100, 10 to the power 2. Earlier a was 10, now it is 100. So this is how you can use the assignment operator. Then we are having logical operators. Logical operators are used to concatenate or combine two relational expressions. Relational expressions are the expressions which are result of comparison basically, whose result is either true or false. And if there are more than two comparisons and you want to join them, then in that particular case you can use not, and, or operator. Here and or operator are Boolean operator, binary operator. Binary operator means they require two operand, and not is a unary operator. Like say if there is certain condition x, and if I am saying not x, so if x is false, not x will be true. If x is true, not x will be false. Similarly, you can work with and operator and or operator. Like if there are two conditions x and y, where x is false, y is false, then x and y is false, and x or y is also false. If x is false, y is true, or x is true, y is false, then x and y is false. You can see here x and y is false, but x or y is true. And similarly, if x and y both are true, then x and y is true, x or y is also true. There is very easy way to remember this particular thing, x and y in x or y. In case of and operator, if both the results are true, then only the result will be true. And in case of or operator, if both the inputs are false, then only the result will be false. It means if both the conditions are false, then only the result is false. And operator is just like multiplication operator, whereas or operator is just like addition operator. You know, false is 0, true is 1. So 0 into 0 is 0, 0 into 1 is 0, 1 into 0 is 0, 1 into 1 is 1, right? Similarly, 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. And you know, in Boolean there is nothing 2, there is either 0 or 1. So 2 means any positive number, that is also termed as true. Any positive number greater than 0 is termed as true. So this is also true, right? So this is how you can work with the Boolean values. Now let's check here. Say suppose a equal to 5, b is equal to 10, c is equal to 20. Now if we say a less than b, the result is true. B greater than c, the result is false. Now if I say a less than b and b greater than c, so what will be your result? What will be the result? The result will be false. Why? Because a less than b is true and b greater than c is false, and true and false is false. So this is your result, right? So this is how you can concatenate two conditions. Then we are having membership operator. Membership operator is always used with the list, or you can say multiple values. Like if there are two operators, in and not in. In operator returns true if the variable or value is found in the specified sequence. We have discussed sequence, okay, like a string is a sequence, list is a sequence, tuple is a sequence. So in a list, in a tuple, if we want to search something, then we can use in operator. If the element is available, then it will return true. If element is not available, it will return false. Like this is the example. Say I am having a list of numbers 1 2 3 4 5. If I say print 1 in LST, it will true because 1 is available in LST. But if I say print 6 in LST, the result will be false because 6 is not in the LST. It can be with anything, like say suppose I am creating a string, say n is equal to say PAVN Pawan. Now if I want to check whether Z is available in Pawan or not, Z in n, the answer is false. Z is not available in n. But if I say is whether V is available in Pawan or not, V in n, so it's true. Similarly, we can use the not in. If I again say Z not in n, so the answer will be true. Why? Because Z is not available in n. It is true. If a result is false, then its not will be true. We have already discussed. So Z in n is false. So Z not in n, not false, that is true. That is the true. So this is how you can use the in operator. Then similarly, the next we are having identity operator. There is two operator, is and is not. Is operator, it returns true if both operands are referring to the same memory location. If both the variables are same memory location, then it is true. And if both the memory variables are having different memory location, it is false. And is not is just opposite. If they are not having this common memory location, then it is true. And if they are having common memory location, then it is false. Clear? In and is operator, always remember, with in operator we are having not in, and with is operator we are having is not. Like say suppose I am saying a equal to 10, b equal to 10, c equal to 20. Now note it, when you say a equal to 10, in memory there is integers already stored into the memory. So at a particular location, say location 100, assume that location 100, there is a value created 10. Now a is referring to that location 100. Then we created b is equal to 10. Now b is also having the same value 10. So a separate memory location will not be created. The same memory location 100, b is also referring to the same memory location. Yani a is referring to 100, its value is 10. B is referring to 100, its value is 10. Both are referring to same location. Then we say c equal to 20, and 20 is available at some other location. So c is referring to say other location, say 200. Now if you say a is b, the answer will be yes, because both are referring to the same location. But if I say is a is c, the answer will be false. Similarly, a is not b, the answer will be false. And a is not c, the answer will be true. So this is how you can work with the identity operators. Then we are having some additional operators, like one such operator is decorator operator and advanced operator. Then we are having bitwise operators. These are the operators. All these operators, if you see, they are integer operators. They can work on integers only, and they working on an individual bit of the variable. Like individual bit, suppose I am storing somewhere 4. So you know how 4 is stored as binary. 4 will be stored as binary as 0 1 0 0. So it will perform onto the bits. So we are having pipeline symbol. You know, this is the pipeline symbol. Okay, usually this is available on keyboard like this. This particular symbol is your pipeline symbol. So this is your bitwise OR operator. Then we are having ampersand, this is bitwise AND operator. Then we are having tilde sign, this is bitwise NOT or complement. Okay. Then we are having caret sign, this is bitwise XOR. It is called exclusive OR. Okay, now you know very well OR. In case of OR, what is this? In case of OR, say your inputs are 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1. Now if you are using OR, 0 0 is 0, 0 1 is 1, 1 0 is 1, 1 1 is 1. We have already discussed. In case of AND, 0 0 is 0, 0 1 is 0, 1 0 is 0, 1 1 is 1. But in case of XOR, exclusive OR, if number of ones are odd, then the result is 1. If both the input, in other words you can say, if both the input are not same, if both the inputs are same, the result is 0. This is your exclusive OR. And NOT, you know very well. In case of NOT, it is complement inverted. That means if it is 0, it becomes 1. If it is 1, it becomes 0. Then we are having two consecutive less than sign and two consecutive greater than sign. This is bitwise left shift operator and bitwise right shift operator. When you perform bitwise right shift operator, it divides the number by 2. Power of 2, you can say. It divides the number by power of 2. And in left shift operator, it multiplies the number with power of 2. Then we are having ternary operator. Ternary operator which requires 3 operand. So this is your ternary operator. A if C else B. It means if the condition C is true, if the condition C is true, the result is A, otherwise the result is B. Okay. Now this is, say, somewhere what you have to do. Say you are having A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20 and C is equal to, say, now I want to calculate C. Now what I want to do, say, if C, in C I want to store the largest of the two number. So I can write like this: if C is equal to A, if A is greater than B, else B. That means C is equal to A if A is greater than B. But if this is not true, then C is equal to what? C is equal to B. Right? So this is the ternary statement. Now if you print the value of C, it is 20, the largest of two number. Now change again. Say suppose I say A equal to 20 and B equal to 10, and then I say C is equal to A if A is greater than B, else B. So now you can see the value of C is still 20, the largest of the two number. Here the two number is 10 and 20, so the largest 20. Here is two numbers is 20 and 10, so the largest is 20. So this is how you can use the ternary operator. And then finally we are having unary operators. Unary operators which require only one operand. This is basically the sign of a number. Say minus sign, that is negation. Like somewhere you want to write minus A. If I write minus 5, what it means? 5 is a positive number and minus 5 is negative 5. Similarly, you can put a plus sign before a number. If I write somewhere 5, that means plus sign. So unary operator can also be used to represent the sign, and especially minus is used for negation. It means change the sign of the result. Change the sign of the result. Remember, if A is equal to 5, then what will be minus A? If suppose somewhere I am saying A is equal to 5, so what will be minus A? Of course minus 5. But if A is equal to minus 5, then what will be minus A? Plus 5, right? It changed the sign. So that is negation. Then we are having delimiters. Delimiters are the separators, you can say. They are used to specify something. Punctuation marks to specify and or separate different data entities. That is called delimiters. So we are having different type of delimiters. Some of the delimiters we have seen. Just see, remember these square brackets we have used with the list, parenthesis with the tuple, curly bracket with the set and dictionary, then comma, separator as a separator. In list, when you are having multiple items, to separate them you use comma. Then we have used this single quotes or double quotes in strings. If you want to declare string, then this is the part of your comment, if you remember. Okay, this is the part of your escape sequence. Okay, /u/n/t/v. So n, t, v, these are the text, and slash separator, it separate this the next character from rest of the text. So these are the different. Similarly, we are having dot operator, dot sign also. We will discuss about this thing. So these are the different type of punctuators which are available in Python programming. So students, this is what we have discussed about variables, data types, operators and punctuators, and this is all about the tokens in Python. We have not started our programming yet. We will start the programming now onwards, because we know the basic things of Python programming, like there are reserved words, there are identifiers, there are literals, there are operators, there are punctuators, and finally there are comments also in the program. You know, to make a program you have to follow certain steps. Like the first step is input. Without input you cannot perform calculations. Remember the IPO cycle: input, process, output. So input, you have to input the data. Then process are your calculations, that is your operators. So you have list of operators which will calculate the things. And then finally output. So you have to present your result, whatever result has been calculated by the program. So in next session we will discuss about this input, process and output. That is input and output. Process we have already discussed, different type of operators we have discussed, but now we will talk about input and output, how to perform input and how to perform output. Okay, various type of questions can be asked from this particular section. Say one such question can be identify the error. You have to identify the error. There are mistakes in operators. Another can be find the output of the program. You know, these operators are used to calculate something, so you are having certain set of variables, then you have to calculate the output. And similarly they can ask to identify the type of token. As I have already discussed, operator is now here, so one such token is an operator, another such token is delimiter, and so on. So lot of questions can be framed from this particular section. Furthermore, there is a precedence of operators also. You know, in mathematics, when you are working with mathematics, you use the concept of BODMAS. Similar type of concept is used here, which I call it BADMAS. सबसे पहले in the beginning brackets are solved, then exponent, that is your power, is calculated. Then division and multiplication having same hierarchy, same level of precedence, but left to right. Then addition, subtraction. But we are having some other operators also, like assignment, which is always evaluated at the end, last, after performing all the things. And your comparisons. So these comparison operators are after the arithmetic operators. Remember, after the arithmetic operators. Like if somewhere I am writing a plus b greater than c, so it means a and b added together and then compared with c. No, precedence: a plus b greater than c. A and b added together, and first the addition will take place and then the comparison will take place. So similarly, comparison operator, they are having higher precedence than assignment but lower precedence than arithmetic operators. Clear? So this is how, what is precedence of operator. So you have to take care of precedence of operator also while evaluating an expression. So this is all about your introduction to Python, and we will work with the programming portion later on.